Hi, hello everyone. A big hi to all my बच्चा लोग कैसे हैं सब? I know that everyone who is in this classroom is here after having a super amazing festival, है ना? So tell me, how was your festival? How was your Diwali? And how many of you are super ready to start learning and preparing for the upcoming term one examination? Everyone, let me say hi to every बच्चा लोग in the classroom. Hi Vaishali, hi Haramjeet, hi Farouk, hi Abhimanyu, happy Diwali, yes, Miara, hi. Sapna, Sardar Khan, wow, nice name, Farouk, Devika. So, hi to everyone, to all my bacha log in the classroom. How do you all feel? I hope you all feel a bit relaxed after this festival, after blasting out your mind in that particular day, for that particular festival and coming here, coming back with a relaxing mindset. I hope this particular festival might have given you enough peace and enough relaxation time, and I want every one of you to go for it and to strive so hard for getting an amazing mark for the upcoming term one examination. I hope you all can do that, isn't it? So yes, tell me, what is the topic for today's session? We are going to see the amazing and super important formulas that is going to come for the term one examination. Matlab, whatever multiple choice questions you are going to receive in your upcoming term one examination will be popping up only from this particular formula. So chapter wise chapter, topic wise topic, we'll be seeing all the formulas that we'll be seeing in the term one examination. ठीक है मेरे बच्चा लोग? So I know that many of you might be seeing me for the very first time, है ना? So many will be thinking, ये कौन है? ये sir कौन है? So for those people, this is Ameer, your physics educator at Unacademy, and the people, those students who love me more, they used to call me Ameer Bhaiya. A bit of introduction about myself, I hope you all can see on the screen. I have an experience of more than 3.5 years in the field of teaching JEE, NEET and board student. I am a BTech graduate from NIT Calicut in mechanical engineering, and this is all about me. Okay? Now, bachalo, can you all do a small simple thing? A chotu wala thing can you all do? Can you just share this particular class to all your friends? Okay, schedule I'll be updating in the next class. Can you share this particular class to all your friends? Ask them to join as soon as possible, because we want every one of you and your friends to get benefited, and we let us everyone prepare for term one examination in the best way possible. Okay? So yes, very good, very good, very good. So yes, Miara, Parvati, I can see. So Miara is learning, sir. We already have shared. So Roshan, Calicut is name of city in modern times. Okay, okay. So very good. Now, you all know that there are so many educators in Unacademy class 11th and 12th, where you don't want to miss any of their live classes. So you need to get the proper updates and notifications on time. How will you get it? Once you are a part of the Telegram channel, the link is given right here, because whatever happens in our Unacademy class 11th and 12th YouTube channel, everything will be given and updated in this Telegram channel. So make sure that you are a part of this particular Telegram channel. Okay? Fine. Now, Bugs Bounty program, ये क्या होता है बच्चा लोग? I'll tell you. This is an amazing way for every one of you to grab as many prizes as possible. What do you all have to do? You just have to go to the description box. There you'll find a form. Fill in the form if you're finding any inappropriate content in the videos uploaded by Unacademy. ठीक है? If it is valid, prizes will be on your way, बच्चा लोग. Then you know that it would be an amazing idea to be a part of Unacademy family and to start learning with us. So how many of you want to start learning with Unacademy completely for free? Okay, then this is your best opportunity, because the scholarship test happens on every Sunday at 1 p.m. Make sure that you don't miss it, right? The registration for this particular scholarship test is completely free, right? Okay, and you can see for the what are the different prices you are going to get according to your ranks. 1 to 3, 1 year plus subscription completely free, 75% scholarship. Oh my god, so many prizes are waiting for you. Make sure that you are going to attend this scholarship test. It will be happening every Sunday at 1 p.m. and if you want to enroll completely for free, use this particular code of AMB10. This will help you to get enrolled for the scholarship test completely for free. मेरा बच्चा लोग, this is very important. Make sure that you attend to it. ठीक है? Then regarding this Unacademy subscription, 2 more minutes. ठीक है बच्चा लोग? Then we are going straight into our formulas. ठीक है? And give me 2 minutes. So we'll be discussing about what makes an Unacademy subscription so much important. Then we'll start with our classes. Now you know that nowadays everything is available in YouTube, है ना? But Why we have to make an Unacademy subscription? I'll just tell you 2-3 points. If you find that it is valid, make sure that you make a subscription. First thing is, we all educators will be teaching in Indian Academy platform with a proper schedule targeting board examination, JEE examination and NEET examination. Okay? And we'll also make sure that whenever we take some topics, we'll be taking in a proper order so that you can keep track of all the topic that is being covered in the classroom. When everything comes in order, right? When everything is served to you in the right manner, what happens? Yes, the process of learning becomes so simple and you'll start falling with this process of learning. Once you start loving something, you'll do it in the best way possible. You will give your complete hard work and obviously you are going to win in your effort of learning, right? Which means you'll be making a huge progress in this process of learning. So obviously your marks will also be shooting up like anything, just like a rocket, let's say. Then top educators of the country who's already having a very good experience is already with an Academy platform. They'll be telling you what to study, what are the kind of questions you should be expecting, what are the kind of questions you should be practicing, what are the different exam patterns you will be receiving. Everything these educators who's having a very good experience will be telling you. You just need to follow them, right? And you will be ending up in the colleges whichever you are dreaming about. Then study materials will be given to you, practice test, live test series will make you super confident and will bring out the best from every one of you. So I think for the time being, you should be going for 6-month subscription. It will cost you 1,667 per month. And again, you don't need to pay that much also. Why? Because you have the code of AMB10, है ना? हम पूरा physics family को we have this code of AMB10 uses and get 10% of discount. Then I know that some of you like to have more amount of features. So if you want all the features of Plus subscription and want some extra features, you should be going for Iconic. Because in Iconic, you will be given a personal mentor. Who's this personal mentor? So this is a person, right, who will be assigned to you. He'll be telling you what to study, what not to study, how to study. Okay? Which means half the burden on your shoulder will be taken by this particular person and you will feel aram se you can learn. Okay? Then live doubt solving classes will be there, weekly reports will be given to you. So for all these features, if you're going for a 6-month subscription, right, it will cost you 2,833 per month. And again, as you all know, do you need to pay that much? Bilkul nahi. Hamara pass code hai AMB10. Use this particular code and get 10% off and the most amazing offers that you can avoid while you make the subscription. Now that's all about. Right, now it's time for physics. Tell me how many of you are ready with your notebook and pen so that you can write down all the formulas from each and every chapters that is going to come for term 1 examination. Are you all ready, mera bachcha log? Hi Santhya, hi Rutash, my dear sir, how are you? I'm doing so good. Tamanna, hi. Rutash, then Tamanna, we have Ashok. So tell me, are you all ready, mera bachcha log? Super duper ready hai kya mera? Or I can see others with that energy. I want everyone to be having that energy. Okay, so tell me, when you say that you are super duper ready for this particular session, you want to be there with your notebook and pen. ठीक है ना? Pen के साथ ready? Lakshmi, Shreya, Thanvi, Om Prakash, Armi. आज मेंटी कुछ नहीं है. We'll be only focusing on the formulas from each chapter. Shruti, ready? Okay. So let us start from the basics of mathematics, which is regarding vectors, because you know that vector is one of the important topic from physics. That's why we have included the topic of vectors. Okay. Now, how can we notate or how can we express a vector A? That is represented as ax I cap, ay j cap and az k cap. So what is this ax? Ax is the x component of vector A, ay is the y component of vector A, az is the z component of vector A. Write it down. Okay. Now, if the vector is given in this particular form, someone can ask you what is the magnitude. How will you find the magnitude? Write down this formula. The magnitude of A, if you want to represent magnitude of A, you can put the vector A between two lines. Then you will be reading it as magnitude of A. Formula kya hai? Root of ax square, which means the x component of vector A, square of it, y component square plus z component square. If you take the root of the summation of the squares, you will get the magnitude of the given vector. Okay. Now, before going to the product of vectors, let us discuss about the summation of vectors. Okay. देख ले, you have a vector A you are adding it with a vector b. Let's say that the angle between the vector a and the vector b is theta. बच्चा लोग बता दे फॉर्मूला क्या है for the resultant of a plus b. What's the formula? That is equal to root of a square plus magnitude of b square plus 2 magnitude of a magnitude of e cos of the angle between them. Very important है ना, बहुत बड़ा important. Now you can ask me, sir, how to find the direction of the summation of vector a and b. क्या करना है आप लोगों को? With the vector a and b like this, complete the parallelogram. Draw. Can you do it? I hope everybody know to draw a diagonal of the parallelogram. Draw किया. Whatever is the diagonal of the parallelogram, that will be acting as a resultant. Can you see the angle that resultant makes with the vector a? Let us mark it as alpha. Is there any equation to find alpha? बिल्कुल. Formula tan of alpha is equal to, write it down मेरा बच्चा लोग, alpha is the angle made between resultant and the vector a. So that starts with b sin theta divided by a plus b cos theta. Okay, so I am going very slow. Do you know why I am going very slow मेरा बच्चा लोग? So that you can note down all the formulas along with me. ठीक है? Okay, now resolution of vectors. हमारा पास क्या है अभी? Resolution of vectors. ठीक है. So in the resolution of vector, let's see how this can be done. We have a vector a which makes an angle theta with the horizontal. Now you want to express this vector a as two components along x-axis and y-axis. So the component of vector a, if we mark it as ax, will be equal to the cos component of a. A cos theta will be the x component, and what will be the y component? A sin theta. ठीक है बच्चा लोग, आप नोट कर रहे हैं है ना? Okay, so this is regarding addition of vectors, magnitude of resultant, the angle it makes. This is resolution of vectors. इधर तक clear है? Okay, now moving on. Now what is left? Now what is left is the product of vectors. Okay, the product of vectors. Okay, if you have a vector a, okay, if you have a vector b, the first kind of product we call it as the dot product. How many of you know what is the other name for dot product मेरा बच्चा लोग? Dot product का दूसरा नाम क्या है? Let me see. Let me look into the chat box and let me see the very first person to give me the answer. What is the other name for dot product? कोई नाम है क्या dot product का? अरे अदर नेम क्रॉस प्रोडक्ट नहीं है, बिल्कुल नहीं है. क्रॉस प्रोडक्ट दूसरा वाला प्रोडक्ट है. हाँ, स्केलार प्रोडक्ट, बिल्कुल बढ़िया. डॉट प्रोडक्ट और स्केलार प्रोडक्ट. ओके, सो a dot b is defined as magnitude of a magnitude of b cos of the angle between them. The other formula from vectors. नोट कर ले. ओके, yes. Then if vector a is given as ax I cap plus ay j cap plus az k cap, and let's say the vector b is given as bx I cap plus by j cap plus bz k cap, which means each and every vector I have written in terms of its components वो एक ही है. Now if someone is asking you to do the dot product, what will be the value? Vector a dot vector b will be how much? Ax into bx. मतलब you just need to multiply the numericals in the same direction. देख ले, both are having I direction. Multiply ax and bx कर दिया, plus then multiply the numericals in the y direction. Ay into by plus az into bz. This is how you do the dot product of two vectors when vectors are given in its component form. ये भी किया? हाँ? Okay. So बच्चा लोग ये tell me this. Am I going in the correct pace so that you can note down all the formulas? Okay. Am I going in the very correct pace, which means am I going enough, slow enough so that you can write down all the formulas? Update me. Tell me everyone. So I hope you all have noted down these formulas, है ना? Yes, Shruti, Sapna, yo, okay. I'm too fast. अरे बाप रे. So मैं थोड़ा धीरे भी चलेगा, ठीक है? I'll reduce my speed by 0.1x. I'll reduce it, ठीक है? एല്ലാം नोट ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നു, ठीक है? Devika is telling you are going in the correct pace. We are able to note down everything. Okay. Now one more thing that we haven't talked about is cross product, which is the other multiplication between two vectors, that is cross product. Write down cross product, ठीक है? If you have a vector A and if you have another vector B, right, the other kind of multiplication that happens between them is cross product. We also call it as, what do we call it? We also call it as vector product. Note this term. We also call it as vector product. इसका formula क्या है? It is magnitude of A, magnitude of B, sine of the angle between them into n cap. Array, it is a vector product, so that the final answer has to be a vector. So n cap shows the direction of A cross B. How many of you know to find the direction of A cross B? How many of you know to find the direction of A cross B? Those who don't know, please listen here. I'll just tell you. ये हमारा वेक्टर A है, ये हमारा वेक्टर B है. This is the angle theta between them. Those who don't know how to find the direction, just listen to me, everyone. It is A cross B, ठीक है? So starting from the vector A, we have to move towards a vector B. So take your right hand, everyone, bachalo. Okay. So can you see these fingers, these 4 fingers? Curl these 4 fingers from the first vector toward the second vector. From the first vector means from the vector A towards the vector B. So what will be the direction of curling of your fingers? In the anti-clockwise direction, है ना? In the anti-clockwise direction, बिल्कुल. So just curl your fingers in the anti-clockwise direction. What is the direction of thumb showing? Outwards, है ना? That itself is the direction of A cross B. So here in this case, the direction of A cross B is outwards, and this rule, है ना? This rule we call it as right hand thumb rule, we call it. This is called as right hand thumb rule, ठीक है? So this is all the important formulas that you should be knowing from vectors. If you know this much, है ना, you can do any problems. Okay, Saloni, bye. आप जा रहे हैं, ठीक है? Please do watch the replay, and because we are talking about important formulas, it is very important. Okay, write down it. Okay, don't worry. I'll also be sharing the PPT in the group, which means in the Telegram group also, in the Various and Legends group also. I'll be sharing it, so don't worry at all. ठीक है? Now that part is over. Let us jump to the part of motion in one dimension. ठीक है? Ratash, yes. Abhyash. Okay, so ठीक है. Now let us move forward for our next topic, which is motion in one dimension. Kinematics पे let us start with motion in one dimension. I think many of the formulas or much of the formulas from this motion in one dimension is more, it's clear to every one of you, right? Anyway, we'll proceed. Starting with the distance and displacement, right? Distance and displacement everybody knows. Next is what is average wala velocity and instantaneous velocity. What is the formula for average velocity? Displacement the particle makes divided by time. Okay, and what is the formula for instantaneous wala velocity? That is equal to small displacement, that is dr divided by dt. Dr matlab small displacement by small time. So dr by dt will be called as what? Yes, differential of displacement with respect to time will give you instantaneous wala velocity. ठीक है? Note this down, very important it is. Okay, this is the equation for average. Average is total displacement by total time. Instantaneous velocity is small displacement by small time. We call it as differential of displacement with respect to time. You can ask me, sir, why we are not talking about the distance? Just replace this displacement with distance. You will get the equation for speed. Speed is equal to distance divided by time. Okay, and if you want instantaneous wala speed, what do you have to do? That is differential of distance with respect to time. Just replace displacement with respect to distance. What you will get? you will get the equation for speed. That's all. Sabko pata hai. I'm not going in depth to it. Similarly, we have equation for average wala velocity. What will be the equation for average velocity? Final velocity minus initial velocity divided by time. This will be the equation for average wala velocity. Okay? And if you want instantaneous wala velocity, what do you have to do? You have to take a small change in velocity. dv means small change in velocity divided by small time. dt means small change of time. And what do we call in total dv by dt as? That is differential of velocity with respect to time will be the equation for instantaneous wala velocity. Now I hope bacha log I'm going enough slowly so that everybody can write it. Okay. Now I want to give you some extra formulas and information. Ye bhi note kar le. Okay. It might not be available in your NCERT book, but it is important because questions do come most of the time. Because when I tell you the formula, you'll also understand, ha sir, this is a formula from many of the questions I did it. So let's see. Okay, yes. Idhar tak koi gadbad nahi hai na. I hope everybody is able to write it. These formulas will be coming back to these formulas. Don't worry bacha log. In between I want to give you some extra formulas. ठीक है श्रेया? Bhumika, NS, Yadav, Sapna. Note kiya Mitalesh? Myara, let's do it, right? Okay, so everyone with full of energy, let's proceed for it. Here we go. Next is hamara, ye dekh le. A particle is moving from A to B. Okay, you might have seen this. A particle is moving from A to B in equal intervals of distance. Matlab, it is moving from a point A to C by covering a distance of S with a speed of v1. Then moving from C to D by covering the same distance S with some different velocity v2. So it is covering the motion from the point A to B in n equal intervals of distance with the speed v1, v2, v3, v4, v5 till vn. Okay. Question ye ki, I think you might have seen this, hai na? Question ye ki, what is the formula for average velocity with which the particle moves? That is equal to n divided by 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2 plus 1 by v3 till 1 by vn. Okay, which means what is n? N is the number of intervals the particle makes before it reaches the final position of v. Okay, what is v1, v2 and v3? v1, v2 and v3 are the velocities the particle makes in each intervals of distance. v1, v2, v3, this is a formula. ठीक है? I think many of you have seen the problems from this. है ना बच्चा लोग? बोल दे. Haven't you did problem from this particular part? I think many of you might have done questions, matlab multiple choice questions from this particular concept. है ना? Bhumika, don't you say yes? Abu says yes. हाँ, very good. So ये भी note कर ले. Can I give you one more formula like this? एक और formula. हाँ, Rotash is like sir yes. Sandhya is like clear sir. ठीक है. Vishal, no. So try to do it. Many questions are available by using this particular concept. Okay. So try to do more number of multiple choice questions. Then once again the particle is moving from a point A to B, but now it is covering in different intervals of equal time, which means from A to C the particle is moving during a time period of t with its velocity of v1. In the next interval, it takes the same time t but with the velocity v2. In the next time, it is moving with v3 and this is going on till vn. In this case, matlab, if the particle is moving from A to B in equal intervals of time, the formula for average wala velocity is equal to, it is normal average, matlab v1 plus v2 plus v3 plus v4 till vn divided by n. Matlab here you simply have to take the average value of all the velocities that is happening here. That itself will give you average wala velocity, in which case if it is covering in equal intervals of time. If it is covering in equal intervals of distance, ye hota hai formula, don't forget it. This is for equal intervals of distance. Note kiya? Very important it is. If you want me to write, I will write in the sideways equal, okay, interval of distance. Okay, this is for equal interval of time. Okay, yes, done. Note किया रुताश, very good. ठीक है. Now moving forward, note किया श्रेया, very good रुताश. Sir, I'm a lazy guy. Okay, so you itself have to think about it. Okay, you have to make changes in your routine and you have to be super active. Okay, so everyone make your own note. At the same time, I will also be sharing the note in all the Telegram groups and in our groups, every groups, the notes will be available. I'll sharing it, don't worry, okay? So yes, moving on, mera bachcha log. The super amazing formulas which completely binds this particular chapter. First one, the final velocity v is equal to initial velocity plus acceleration into t, matlab v equal to u plus at. Next formula, I think everybody knows this formula, hai na? The next one, S is equal to ut plus half at square. Now let me ask you this question. Let me see how many of you know. ये S है ना? Does that correspond to distance or displacement? वो S है ना हमारा बच्चा लोग. Can you all see that particular equation? S is equal to ut. U is initial velocity, t is time, half acceleration into time square. उसमें S है ना? वो displacement or distance it is. जल्दी. Abhyash says it's distance. Then anyone else? Only one person to give me the answer. Abhyash is the only person I have the answer from. I hope everybody is listening. Very good, Om Prakash, Rotash, Sapna. Array, it is displacement. Shalu, very good. What displacement? Very good. So that is displacement, because this entire equation, whether it is v equal to u plus at, s is equal to ut plus half at square, then the equation of v square is equal to u square plus 2as, है ना? ये पूरा का पूरा equation is completely on vectors, मतलब whether it is velocities, acceleration, s, everything it is vector quantities. S is displacement, u is initial velocity, v is final velocity, a is acceleration. ठीक है? Fine. Okay. Now, next formula is, before going to relative velocity, okay, we'll go with some other formulas. So, idhar tak I hope everybody have noted, and these are very common formulas, everybody knows also, I think. Okay, yes. And one simple surprise is there for every one of you. I'll be singing a song at 8:45. Okay, there'll be a song. It is Friday, Anna. So Friday, everyone is having party. We'll also have the party in the classroom at 8:45. Okay, a small song from Ameer sir. So yes. So moving on. Now the other formula is displacement traveled by the particle in the nth second. Matlab, if you want to find out the displacement traveled only during the 5th second, matlab after 4 seconds till it reaches 5 seconds, how many displacement the particle has covered, we call it as displacement traveled in the 5th second, right? So if you want to find out the displacement made by the particle in the nth second, n is some general time, is equal to, formula is u plus a into n minus half. N correspond to that respective time, a is the acceleration, u is initial velocity. ठीक है, नोट किया मेरा बच्चा लोग? Okay, yes. Now let us look into the vertical motions. Vertical motion का मतलब ये है कि a particle which is projected from the ground with some initial velocity. So what will happen? It will go up, will reach the maximum height and come back to the floor. Tell me, what is the total time taken for it? Total time for the particle to start from the bottom, go to the top and come back. That will be equal to 2u divided by g. Explaining each and every term, u is initial velocity, g is acceleration due to gravity. Sabko pata hai. Okay, then what we have? The maximum height of the particle, how many of you know? What is the formula for maximum height of the particle? That is equal to u square by 2g. the maximum height between the particle which is projected from the ground, it will go up to this particular maximum height है ना, उसका फॉर्मूला ये है कि u square divided by 2g. Okay, yes, completed, no doubts I suppose, and I hope everybody is noting down also. ठीक है, this is regarding vertical motion, this is a displacement made by the particle in the nth second. Now it's time for our graphs. मतलब some of the important formulas from the graph, and I think all the formulas that we have discussed till now, I think everybody is familiar with, but graphs I don't know how many of you are familiar with, but those who have done multiple choice question, you might have noticed that many of the questions pop up from this part of graphs, है ना? How many of you have noted, मेरे बच्चा लोग? Those who have done multiple choice question might have exactly noted this. If a question is popping up from the part of motion in one dimension, you'll be seeing this, है ना? So no doubts are very good, Shreya. Okay. So shall we see what are the main equation that we'll be using from the graphs and different graphs what all are available, वो सब ठीक है, noted. Okay, now starting with the displacement time graph. In a displacement time graph, first thing, the slope of the graph, what will it give you? Slope m will give you the velocity. Okay, velocity of a particle can be found out from a displacement time graph by finding out its slope. M is equal to slope. Those who don't know, slope will give you velocity. Write it down. Those who don't know how to find the slope of a graph, that is tan theta. Okay, then that is all about displacement time graph. Then if you are having a velocity time graph as such, what is it? If you are having a velocity time graph, two information we can graph from here. One is first the slope. What will the slope of velocity time graph gives you? It will give you acceleration. Okay, how will you find a slope? It's tan theta. Those who don't know, write it down. Slope is will be giving you acceleration. Then area under the graph, ये है ना हमारा ग्राफ, ये है ना हमारा ग्राफ, देख ले. So if you find out the area under the graph, we will get what? The displacement. If you find out the magnitude of area under the graph, it will be giving us what we call it as displacement. This is also important. From where? From velocity time graph. If you want me to write it, I'll write it as heading velocity time. ये हमारा displacement time. Okay, yes. Now one more graph is left. Space का है, space पूरा का पूरा use किया क्या? One more graph is there. I am due to lack of space, I am drawing it here मेरा बच्चा लोग. Okay, वो हमारा acceleration time graph है. मतलब acceleration is plotted on the x-axis and time is acceleration on the y-axis and time on the x-axis. Now if we have a graph, only one information is available, area under the graph. Area under the graph will give us change in velocity, मतलब v minus u. ये है ना हमारा area. If we just find out the area under the graph, it will be directly giving us the change in velocity. Okay, yes. And the one last concept that you have to get from here is the relative velocity. मतलब if you want to find out the velocity of a body A with respect to another moving body B, the formula is written as velocity of A with respect to B. What is its expanded formula? Velocity of A minus velocity of B. ये भी note कर लें. So this is all about the entire formulas from motion in one dimension. So if you go after learning these many formulas to the exam hall, if a question pop-ups, ऐसे ही कर सकते हैं आप लोगों को. Tell me how many of you have written all the formulas from vectors plus motion in one dimension till here? जल्दी बोल दे. जल्दी बोल दे. How many of you? Rotaj done. Then और कोई? Riya have done. Sania did all the formulas. Noted. Sapna, very good. देन और कोई नहीं. अरे बच्चा लोग, this is the best opportunity, which means within 1.5 hours we can cover the entire formulas and prepare the short note for the upcoming term 1 examination, hai na? So don't you think it will be an amazing thing? Yes, it is. So there we go, did. Shift did. Okay, so I think many of you have done this. Now it's time for the new chapter, which is motion in a plane. Motion in a plane. Okay, shall we? Everyone, here we go with the very first part, the projectile motion from the ground. If a particle is projected from the ground with some initial velocity u, making some angle theta, the total time required for the particle to complete the projectile motion, we call it as time period. Formula is 2u sine theta divided by g. That is the equation for time period. ठीक है, फिर क्या है? Can you see this entire horizontal displacement the particle makes? The total horizontal displacement before it hits the ground on the next point? Yes. उसका नाम है range. What is its formula? U square sine 2 theta divided by g. Okay. Now, before going to height, tell me, what is the angle at which we can have the maximum range? R will be maximum when theta is equal to 45 degree. Write this down. Okay, range is maximum. When theta is equal to 45, what is the maximum value for range? Array, when theta is 45, sine 2 times 45 is 90, sine 90 is 1. So the maximum value of range कितना होता है? U square by g. It happens at 45 degree and the maximum value of range is U square by g. Tell me, what are the two different angles where we can have the same range? Same range के लिए what are the two different angles? One is theta and 90 minus theta. If you throw a particle with an initial velocity u with an angle of theta or 90 minus theta, the range हमारा same होता है. What is it? The range will be same. Done? Okay. Now that's all about range. Now क्या है हमारा पास? The maximum height when the particle is here, that is a point where the particle is in its maximum height during the entire projectile motion. ठीक है? The formula for this maximum height is equal to u square, u is initial velocity, square of it, sine square theta divided by 2g. That is the formula for maximum height. Okay, done. Sometimes those who are doing some higher level problems of a projectile motion might have seen these things. Matlab, when the particle is at some random point, let's say the particle is here after some time t. The question will be, what is the x component of the particle when the particle is here? Formula is u cos theta into t or ut cos theta. X component matlab the displacement the particle has covered in the x direction, as you all can see. The question can also be, what is the y component of the velocity? Matlab the y displacement the particle has made. Formula ye u sin theta into t minus half gt square. Okay, I am not going for the explanation or the derivation of this particular formula. I hope you all have understood it. ठीक है? So that is it. Next, if you want to be having an equation of the x and the y coordinate when the particle is moving in this projectile motion, that is called as equation for the path of projectile motion. What do we call it? An equation which connects x and y. When the particle is undergoing that projectile motion, we call it as equation for the path of projectile motion. Equation for path of projectile motion. है ना? ठीक है. Now, उसका formula क्या है? Y is equal to, as you can see, x tan of theta g x square divided by 2 u square cos square theta. So this is the formula for equation for the path of projectile motion. Another super important. This is very important. Many questions I have seen. This is super important formula. Write it down. Okay. Next, one more thing. If you want to find the velocity of the particle when it reaches here, v will be equal to root of the velocity when the particle reaches here after a time of t is equal to root of u square plus u. Okay, let me write once again. एक मिनट मेरा बच्चा लोग, okay, एक मिनट. So that v is equal to root of u cos theta the whole square plus u sin theta minus gt the whole square. Entire thing is inside the root. Okay, so root I'll put it a bigger one. Now ठीक हो गया ना बच्चा लोग. So the velocity v is equal to u cos theta the whole square plus u sin theta minus gt the whole square. Okay, done. Every one of you, मेरा बच्चा लोग, every one of you, all the formulas from projectile motion is projected here. If you are having a multiple choice question, they have to ask from either of this particular formulas. If you have written this down, okay, there is no possibility for the entire examination team to ask a question other than this. Okay, मेरा classes will be from on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday and Friday at 8 PM for 11th standard, 10 PM for 12th standard. हो गया? Okay, जल्दी नोट कर ले शिवी. Okay, साथ में नोट कर ले. when I give you the lectures है ना, उसी टाइम पे नोट कर ले, ऐसे डुम 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 डुम. You have to be super fast, है ना? Okay. Yes. Okay. Now shall we proceed? Okay. Next what we are having is horizontal projectile motion. If you want it specifically has a heading, here we have horizontal projectile motion. Is there anyone who doesn't know what is horizontal projectile motion? है क्या कोई? सबको पता है ना? I really wanted to give explanation for each and every formulas, but time doesn't permit us, है ना? So we have to go like this. So anyway, horizontal projectile motion मतलब a particle which is projected from some height in the horizontal direction with some velocity u. How will it be going? It will be going like this. Different things that can be asked from here. One is time period, मतलब total time taken by the particle to make the projectile motion. Formula root of 2h divided by g, which v is the velocity at some random time t. Okay, at any point of time t, if someone is asking you the velocity, that is v. ठीक है? Okay, so I hope you all have noted down t, time period for the particle to complete the entire time. Okay, yes. Then question is range. Range what will it be? From the foot of the building, how much horizontal distance the particle has covered, वो होता है range of the projectile motion. उसका formula ये है कि u into root of 2h divided by g. Okay, so we have the equation for time period, we have the equation for range. Now again, let's say the particle is at some point here, at some random point. You want to find the velocity v. The velocity v is equal to root of u square plus gt the whole square. Okay, u square plus gt the whole square. And if you want to find out the angle made by the velocity with the horizontal at that point of time, tan of theta is equal to gt divided by u. ये भी लिख लें, very important. Okay, v is equal to root of u square plus gt the whole square. Tan theta is equal to gt divided by u. Then don't you want equation for the path of projectile motion? In this projectile motion, don't you want the equation for the path of projectile motion? चाहिए या नहीं चाहिए? चाहिए, है ना? सबको चाहिए. So ये भी ले ले. So y is equal to half g x square divided by u square. I think compared to the previous equation for the path of projectile motion, ये equation थोड़ा छोटा है ना? According to what we have learned for the projectile motion from the ground, ये थोड़ा छोटा है ना? चलो, हाँ बिल्कुल चाहिए. श्रुति बोल रहा है कि हाँ सर बिल्कुल चाहिए हमें, क्यों नहीं चाहिए? ओके, नेक्स्ट ये भी लिख ले. The particle is here. Obviously, it will be covering some x in the x direction. It will be covering some y displacement in the y direction. How will you find it out? X is equal to ut and y is equal to half gt square. Okay, if you want to find out the x coordinate and y coordinate after some time t, this is the formula. So we have covered all the super important formulas from both the projectile motion. Is it done? Are you all having a smiling faces? Note किया तो बता. If you all have noted down, we can proceed further. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I think I have promised you one song at 8:45, Anna. So it was Friday. I am also in the mood to sing. So before we proceed further to the circular motion, shall we have a Chotu song? A small song, Chotu wala. Huh? Everyone. So that मन थोड़ा हल्का हो जाएगा. You are listening to so many formulas. ऐसे. Okay, a small one. I'll just go and grab my guitar and come. Okay, then we'll sing a song. Then we'll proceed with our circular motion. ठीक है? Okay, a very small one, and as you all know, I'm not a good singer and all, but anyway, even if the song goes really bad, क्या करना है आप लोगों को? क्या करना है बता? हाँ, you have to say that, sir, जो गाना आप गाए ना वो तो बिल्कुल मस्त था, बढ़िया था. ठीक है, सार हूँ आपका. ठीक है, टीचर हूँ आपका, थोड़ा वो कर ले. Okay, after the song we'll be continuing a छोटू वाला song. डूबा रहता हूँ आँखों में तेरी, दीवाना बन गया हूँ मैं तेरी चाहत में तेरी. डूबा रहता हूँ आँखों में तेरी, दीवाना बन गया हूँ मैं तेरी चाहत में तेरी. दिन गुजरती नहीं, बात कटती नहीं, तस्वीर से बात बनती नहीं. तू आजा, कोई जाने ना पहचाने ना ये हुआ कैसे. तुम आओगे ख्वाबों में से, कोई जाने ना पहचाने ना ये हुआ कैसे. तुम आओगे ख्वाबों में से. बेवफा 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 न जा. डूबा रहता हूँ आँखों में तेरी, दीवाना बन गया हूँ मैं तेरी चाहत में तेरी. डूबा रहता हूँ आँखों में तेरी, दीवाना बन गया हूँ मैं तेरी चाहत में तेरी. So I hope you all liked it. Okay, एक छोटू सा मोटू सा नन्ना सा मुन्ना सा song था, according to whatever I know. Okay, so what do you all say? Awesome, wow, Sapna is like, sir, nice, sir. Whoa. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, Myara, Abhyas, Santya, then Rutash, T-Game. Okay. Ha, sometimes, but he is too much crazy. Okay, he'll so one day I'll bring Marco also to the class, you know. ठीक है? So shall we continue? So थोड़ा मन हल्का हो गया थोड़ा. That was my entire purpose of singing the song. ठीक है? Fanatic, it's a lone boy. Obsessed with the song. Marco is my chotu wala cat, और कोई नहीं. Though my sisters call him with a different name, okay? I call him Marco. So yes, shall we proceed? मेरा बच्चा लोग, Back to our chapter. Okay, so here we go, everyone. Now we have to deal with a circular motion also before we start with our laws of motion chapter. Okay. Now, in circular motion, the first thing that you need to know is what is angular displacement. सबको पता है? If a particle moves from the point A to B, right, the angle covered by the radius vector, we call it as angular displacement. सबको पता है? Write it down. Angular displacement. You don't have to write it down. Just draw this particular figure and mark what is angle theta. Okay. Now it is moving from A to B. Again, angular displacement is a vector quantity. How will you find the direction? Take out your right hand. Okay. And curl your fingers in the direction in which particle moves. In which direction the particle is moving? From A to B. Aise. From A to B. So curl your fingers also in the A to B. Matlab anti-clockwise. Okay. What is the direction of thumb showing? Outward. That itself is the direction of angular displacement. So again we have a right hand thumb rule. We call this particular rule as, okay. So thumb rule will help us in finding out the direction of angular displacement. Okay. Then what we have is angular velocity. How will you find out angular velocity, which is written with the symbol of omega? That is equal to total angular displacement by time. This will give you average wala angular velocity, just like what we have learned in our linear velocity chapter. And if you want to find out instantaneous wala angular velocity formula, क्या होता है? छोटू wala displacement divided by छोटू time. What is this? Differential of angular displacement with respect to time. Okay, this is the formula for angular velocity. Then what we have, one more equation we have, that is angular acceleration, which is represented with the symbol of alpha. So how will you find out? If you are going for average wala, that will be equal to omega 2 minus omega 1 by t. Omega 2 is final angular velocity, omega 1 is initial angular velocity divided by time will give you average wala angular acceleration. And if you want instantaneous, formula is d omega divided by dt. Okay. Yes, is it fine? Note jaldi kar le bachcha log, jaldi note kar le. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. So we are proceeding further. Okay. So you have to be a bit fast. Okay. If I keep on giving so much of time, will this class be ever ending? No, class aise hi jayega. And we have only completed 2-3 chapters. Okay. Now moving on. Now what all other things have? I hope you all do remember this equation of V equal to U plus AT, S is equal to UT plus half AT square, V square is equal to U square plus 2AS from displacement, matlab motion in one dimension. We have such kind of formulas here in circular motion also. That is omega 2 final angular velocity is equal to initial angular velocity plus alpha into t. This is the formula with respect to V equal to U plus AT from linear motion. Okay. Then we have V square is equal to U square plus 2AS from linear motion. The respective equation from circular motion is omega 2 square is equal to omega 1 square plus 2 acceleration here will become angular acceleration, displacement here will become angular displacement theta. Then remember this equation, S is equal to ut plus half at square from motion in one dimension. The respective equation from this chapter is theta is equal to omega 1 t plus half alpha t square. Okay. Yes, done. Very good. Now some formulas which connects linear velocity and angular velocity. Linear velocity V is equal to r omega. R is radius of circular motion, omega is angular velocity, V is a linear velocity. This is the equation which connects linear velocity and angular velocity. One thing. Then linear acceleration A is equal to r alpha. Another important formula. Linear acceleration A is equal to r times alpha. Very important. ये भी write कर ले जल्दी फटाफट. Note किया है ना सब? सबने नोट किया? ठीक है. Now we are going to proceed further. Now there are two accelerations, two linear accelerations associated with a circular motion. One is centripetal acceleration. If you want to write it, centripetal acceleration, AC, we usually write it, formula is v square divided by r. Centripetal acceleration has a formula of v square by r. और कोई acceleration है क्या? Obviously उस acceleration का formula है tangential acceleration. Okay, tangential acceleration at is equal to dv by dt, rate of change of linear velocity with respect to time, and it is this tangential acceleration which is written as r alpha. Okay, tangential acceleration of a body is actually r alpha, and the centripetal acceleration is v square by r. Just like the name suggests, centripetal ka acceleration ka direction will be toward the center. I'll just draw the figure and make you understand. Dekh le, if the particle is here, if this is the center, direction of centripetal acceleration is towards the center as well. And what will be the direction of tangential acceleration? Obviously in the tangent direction, ye tangent, ye centripetal. Okay, so these are the formulas from circular motion which you should be knowing, or everyone should be knowing. Okay, yes, is it clear? Done पूरा का पूरा नोट किया without leaving any single formulas, है ना बच्चा? Okay, Shreya noted. Okay, so circular motion chapter is done. Now we are entering into the chapter of Newton's laws of motion. Okay, note kiya, very good. Now starting with linear momentum. What is the formula for linear momentum? सबको पता है. It is mass of the body into velocity of the body. Linear momentum P होता है is equal to mass of the body into velocity of the body. First thing. Okay. Now the next equation pops from Newton's second law of motion. Right? In Newton's second law of motion, it says force F is equal to dp divided by dt, rate of change of momentum. We can derive the equation of F is equal to ma. If you expand P is equal to m into v, differentiating v, we will get as acceleration. So one equation for force is equal to m into a. This is the equation for force when mass is a constant. Now you will be seeing some questions related to a rocket. In the case of rocket, it is the burning of the fuel which is making the rocket to move up. Matlab, when fuel burns, mass changes, है ना? So in that case, F will be equal to d by dt of mass into velocity, है ना? Here, the fuel will be coming out of the rocket with a constant value of velocity v. So velocity will be a constant here. So v will be coming out. It is v into dm by dt. This will be the equation for the force given on the rocket. We call this force as thrust force. Okay, we call this force given on the rocket as thrust force. Formula is v dm by dt. Okay, dm is change of mass. Okay, as mass is decreasing, dm will be negative. So in order to avoid that negative sign, we will be putting an extra negative sign. There you will find in all the books the thrust force will be minus v dm by dt. Okay, note kiya sab, everyone? No doubts, I suppose. Okay, then we are moving on. In Newton's third law of motion, no, there are such equations are there. In Newton's third law of motion, what does it say? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? FAB, force acting on one body, will be equal to, the magnitude will be same, that is acting on the different body, but the direction is opposite. So FAB will be equal to minus of FBA. Okay, keep it here. Before we move to frictional force, okay, we need some thrust force. It is not THURST, Shruti. हम उसका, it is THRUST, thrust force. It is a force given on the rocket by the air below it, which makes the rocket to move up. Okay, that we call it as thrust force. Okay, yes, please note down the formulas. If anybody is having problem with the concepts, and obviously I can't explain concepts here, this is a formula session, so I'll be only explaining formulas. So obviously, if you have any doubts related to the concept, please text me through Telegram. ठीक है? Okay, yeah, good. I hope you understood. If you want more detailed explanation on what is stress force, you can text in the group. Okay, what is stress force? I'll be explaining. Okay, note kiya na? Very good, very good. Now, before we proceed further, you should be knowing some of the formulas, which means formulas for force that we'll be using in this particular chapter. One is spring force. ये हमारा spring है, okay, in its actual length. If this spring is expanded by some value of x, the spring force का value होता है, spring force is equal to minus k into x. Spring force is equal to minus kx. X is the expansion, k is the spring constant, and negative says the direction of spring force is opposite to the direction of displacement. The particle has displaced towards right, but the spring force will be towards left. Okay, ये भी note कर लें. Very important. Then the other force equation which you all know is gravitational force. Those who don't know, please write it down. So because of a gravitational force given by the earth on any given mass, the mass will be having a force of attraction toward the center of the earth with the value of m into g, where g is acceleration due to gravity. Value is how much? 9.8 meter per second square. Okay. I told Insta in between, है ना? Because nowadays we are mainly using the social media of Instagram, so that will be coming into the mouth all the time. वही होता है. Okay, yes. So हम proceed कर रहे हैं. Let's move on. Next, what we have is what is called as impulse. How many of you know what is impulse? If a large force is acting for a short interval of time dt, the impulse j is defined as f into dt. Okay, that large force multiplied by the time duration at which acts, that is called as impulse j. It's a vector quantity. The direction of j is same as the direction of force you apply. It has one more formula. Impulse is equal to change in momentum, that is p2 minus p1. ये भी note कर ले. The impulse is equal to force into time, one formula. Other formula is change in momentum. Final momentum minus initial momentum will also give you impulse. Okay, done? Okay, डन है ना अच्छा लोग? जल्दी बोल दे, फटाफट बोल दे. हाँ सर, बिल्कुल, क्यों नहीं? We are super energetic बच्चा लोग. Obviously we will be writing down each and every formula the moment you give it. Okay, Allam Ektam Saloni. Sapna, yes. Noted, Shriya. Very good, very good, very good, very good. People obsessed with reels. But sometimes during free time, it's good to watch reels, na? Just scroll it up, see, watch different reels. Some funny reels you can see in between. You can laugh out loud. Na? I do that when in free times, na? Before class times, when I don't have anything, I'll be doing this. Note kiya na, Rotash? ठीक है. Now, let us proceed. Now, conservation of momentum. Conservation of momentum. Tell me when the momentum is conserved. Matlab, when is the final momentum and initial momentum will be equal? When the net force acting on the body is equal to 0. When the net external force acting on the body is 0 होता है ना, final momentum और initial momentum same ही होता है. ठीक है? Okay. Then क्या है? Then any formulas, okay, if you want to solve any of the problems from the chapter of Newton's law of motion, the only formula that you have to use is net total force acting on the body is equal to mass into acceleration. If you know this, any single formulas or any questions from this particular chapter can be simply solved ऐसे. Okay, within some छोटू span of time ऐसे कर सकता है सब लोगों को. ठीक है? Now, by using this, you can solve many problems, and one such problem will be pulley mass system. Okay, matlab if you have a massless pulley, and which is where through that pulley a string is passing, where the end points are connected to different masses m2 and m1. So obviously this will be moving with some acceleration. So the equation to find out acceleration is m1 minus m2 into g divided by m1 plus m2. Okay, and the tension acting in the string T is equal to 2 m1 m2g divided by m1 plus m2. Now this same derivation you can do by taking the free body diagram, drawing the free body diagram of mass m1 and solving net force is equal to ma. Just draw the free body diagram of m1 and m2, write net force is equal to ma, solve the equation, you will get for acceleration and tension here. It's not a big deal at all, but if questions are coming directly and if you want to solve it so fast, you can just by heart this particular formula also, it will be good. Okay, yes. Now I know that many of you might have forgot this non-inertial frame of reference. Okay, so those who have forgot, please go and read what is non-inertial frame of references. Non-inertial frames of references means those frames of references which is having an acceleration. So you'll be asking, sir, what is this frame of reference? Next question will be, that's a point from where the observation is being made. Okay, now more explanation, I am holding it myself back because we don't have the time for that. Now if you are making the observation from a non-inertial frame of references, okay, we have to provide a force, we call it as a pseudo force, so that the net force equation will be validated or it will be correct. So the equation for pseudo force is equal to mass of the body into acceleration of non-inertial frame of reference with a negative sign. So a pseudo force has to be given so that we can make use of Newton's second law of motion. Only Newton's second law of motion will be valid once you apply the pseudo force. It's a false force. Okay, its value is mass of the body into acceleration of non-inertial frame of reference with a negative sign. What negative sign signifies? The negative sign signifies that the direction of pseudo force it will be exactly opposite to the direction of non-inertial frame of reference. Okay, ये भी नोट किया. Okay, then some other things you should be knowing. These are very important, which means I have seen many questions asked from this particular part. A person is standing in a lift which is accelerating upward. Question is, what is the normal force experienced by this person? How much will it be? M into G plus A. Those who don't know, write it down. Similarly, है ना, चलो देख ले, हमारा लिफ्ट है, एक बंदा है. So this lift is moving down with an acceleration. Here the value of normal force will be equal to m into G minus A. Now same is the case if you are having, I have no idea how to draw a monkey. Okay, if a monkey is climbing up with an acceleration on a string, if this monkey is climbing up with an acceleration, I don't know how good I am in drawing. I know that I am terribly bad, but still I hope you can understand. Okay, so this is a monkey is climbing upwards with an acceleration. So here in this case, the formula for tension will be equal to m into G plus A. And similarly, ये monkey, okay, same monkey, okay, monkey है. If it is moving down with an acceleration, the value of tension will be equal to m into G minus A. So ये भी note कर ले. Okay, हो गया. ये भी note कर ले. It's very, 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 very important. Okay, now we have to proceed for our what part? To the part of frictional force. So the main two forces or the main two equation which controls the entire frictional force part is the maximum value of a static frictional force. Formula is mu s n. What is mu? That is coefficient of static friction. F kinetic friction ka value is equal to mu k into A, where mu k is the coefficient of kinetic friction. Okay, done. Then this will be discussing separately. This will discuss separately. Then this thing we already have discussed. Matlab, if a particle is undergoing a circular motion, it requires a centripetal acceleration. To provide the centripetal acceleration, a force has to be given. That force is equal to centripetal force. So how much will be the force? That is mass into acceleration. Acceleration is v square by r. Okay, that is the formula for हमारा centripetal force. ये भी note कर ले, very important. Now, frictional force का two formulas I hope both of you have written. Okay. Next thing is, अरे there is no space. Space कहाँ गया? I'll take this H02 space. Okay. So all these things we have discussed. Conical pendulum is not there for our topic, so I'm just cutting it out. Okay, this I'll tell you. Okay, this I'll tell you. Give me some time. Next, what we call it as angle of friction. Angle of friction is, let's say we have a body. Okay, this is the normal force. Let's say this is friction. If you add this normal force and friction, let's say you get a resultant R. Can you see this angle theta? This angle is angle of friction. Okay, ये angle होता है angle of friction, and tan of angle of friction will be equal to mu. Okay, then one more thing we have, that is angle of repose. So I don't have a space to write, so please note it down in your short notebook in your own words. Angle of repose is defined as the angle of inclination just before the body starts climbing down. Okay, let's say we have an inclined surface like this. We have a body of mass m which is resting on it. If you keep on increasing the inclination of that inclined plane at a particular point of time, the body just starts sliding down. That angle is called as angle of repose. That angle of repose, let's mark it as alpha. Tan of alpha is also equal to mu. So comparing tan theta is equal to mu and tan alpha is equal to mu, as left hand side is same, right hand side will also be same, which says theta will be equal to alpha. Matlab angle of friction and angle of repose are one and the same. Their magnitude will be the same. Okay, yes, note किया है ना सब बच्चों लोग? पूरा का पूरा note किया with the smiling faces. Okay, smiling faces with a smiling face. Everyone tell me बच्चा लोग हाँ सर बिल्कुल नोट किया. हाँ साक्षी, Suhana Singh, very good. Saloni, all noted. Sakshi noted, Shreya noted, Mansi noted. हाँ, theta is equal to alpha. Very good, very good, very good. Okay, okay, Devika, no issues at all. Okay, noted. Very good, very good, very good, very good. Everybody have noted, है ना? Okay, now moving on. Now we are going to find out what is the maximum velocity with which a curve can be taken. In the first case, we are going to take a turn. Okay, we are going to take a turn. Give me a minute. So this is our curved road. So without leaning the vehicle, a particle is just taking this particular turn. The maximum velocity with which the particle can move in that particular curve without getting thrown off is equal to root of mu rg. R is the radius of the circular path, g is acceleration due to gravity, and mu is a coefficient of friction, coefficient of static friction. Okay, that is the maximum velocity with which the particle can move in that particular curve without getting thrown off. Okay. Next, let's say that there is no friction in the road, but the same person is taking the same curve by bending, or let's say he is leaning. You might have seen in MotoGP races and all. Okay, let's say he is leaning like this by making an angle of theta. In that case, the maximum velocity with which he can move is given as tan theta rg, the maximum velocity with which he can take the turn. ठीक है, note किया? Okay. Next, I have to find some space. I'll cut circular motion and we'll write it here. Now, let's say that the road is banked like this. Matlab, if the outer edge is a bit shifted up, we call it as banking of roads. Okay. So, if we have the roads banked without friction, and if the vehicle is moving on this particular banked road, where the banking is having an angle of theta, the maximum velocity is also having the same formula of root of tan theta rg. Next, the last topic. The banked road is banked with friction. This is the maximum velocity with which the particle can move on a banked road without using friction. So with friction is also being used. The maximum velocity with which the particle can move is given by the formula of root of rg into mu plus tan theta, the whole divided by 1 minus mu tan theta. Okay, so these are the important formulas, super important formulas from which chapter? From the chapter of laws of motion we have completed. Okay, now how many chapters are left? Work power energy, rotation and gravitation. ऐसे ही कर सकता है. Shall we proceed? Arohi, Miara, pilot, last one. I hope everybody have noted down. Okay, so I think how do you think about this particular session? Are you able to make a short note by yourself by noting down all the important formulas? है ना? Okay. Then from the chapter of work power energy, this particular chapter is completely based on concept. The amount of equations are very less, let's say. Okay, anyway, let's write down all the important formulas. Starting from the work done. Work done is equal to vector F dot S vector F S cos theta. Now, the formula for work done, if force is variable, I write it out. Force is variable. In that case, the formula for work done is integral F dot ds. Okay, integral F dot ds when will be used? When the value of force is a variable. Then kinetic energy sabko pata hai half mv square. That is equal to p square by 2m. If you want to write the equation in terms of p is what? Momentum. ये सब छोटू classes का knowledge है, everybody knows. Then the new information that you have to note down from here is the conservative force. F, this force is a conservative force. Conservative force is equal to negative of du divided by dx. Okay, conservative force is equal to du divided by dx. Differential of u is what? U is potential energy. Differential of potential energy with respect to displacement with a negative sign will give you what? The conservative force. This is also very important. Okay, yes. Then potential energy for gravitational potential energy, if the particle is at some height, it is mgh. Potential energy stored inside the spring if it is being extended by a value of x, half kx square. Okay. Then the famous equation, the super important equation. As you can see, the equation seems so simple, है ना? ऐसे सीधे साधे ऐसे बैठ रहा है. I hope you also know how many equations that used to pop up from this particular formula itself, this work power energy, which means the work energy theorem, है ना? What does it say? It says the work done by all the forces, whatever are the forces available or acting on that body, work done by all the forces, summation of work done by all the forces is equal to change in kinetic energy, मतलब K2 minus K1. ये work is included by work done by conservative, work done by non-conservative, work done by all the other forces. The summation of work done by all the forces acting on the body is change in kinetic energy. Okay? Yes. Then on a body, only conservative forces are acting. Okay? If forces are conservative in nature, only conservative forces are acting on the body. At every point, mechanical energy will be conserved. I hope you all know what is mechanical energy. Sum of potential plus kinetic, we together call it as mechanical energy. Okay? Yes? Fine. Then what we have? Average power. How will you calculate average power? Total work done divided by total time taken. And instantaneous power ka formula, F vector dot velocity vector. This is a formula for instantaneous. I think many of you are not aware of this. There are two different formulas for power. Obviously there is. Those who don't know, because separate questions used to be coming for multiple choice questions. So you should be aware of it. Average wala power is a total work done by total time. Instantaneous power is equal to F vector dot V vector. Okay, yes. Okay, noted. Yes, 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 yes. Wait. Okay, jaldi wait. Jaldi, 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 jaldi. Okay, so I'm going to proceed. Okay, next is from the part of center of mass. And okay, before center of mass, we'll start with collision. Okay, first we will deal with collision. This is very important. Write down everyone. We have a body of mass m1 with some initial velocity u1. We have mass m2 with some initial velocity u2. Let's say u1 is greater than u2. What happens? This u1 will be approaching this u2 and it collides. After collision, let's say the particle moves with a velocity v1 and the second particle moves with a velocity v2. Whatever may be the kind of collision what we are having, every case the momentum will be conserved because only forces acting is internal forces. So momentum conserve matlab, what is the initial momentum? m1 u1 plus m2 u2, that will be equal to final momentum, that is m1 v1 plus m2 v2 all the time. This will be conserved. Okay, the other formula that you should be knowing is E. E means coefficient of restitution. What is the formula? v2 minus v1 divided by u1 minus u2. These two are applicable to all the kind of collisions. Now we are going to make different kinds of collision. First thing is elastic collision. Okay, what is elastic collision? Elastic collisions are those collision if the kinetic energy initial and the final are equal to each other. Matlab half m1 u1 square plus half m2 u2 square, which is initial kinetic energy, is equal to final kinetic energy. We call it as elastic collision. And one more thing is, in elastic collision है ना, the value of E will be equal to 1. ये भी note कर ले. Okay, next what I want to give you is that in elastic collision, if you want to find out the velocity of the first body after collision, formula is m1 minus m2 into u1 plus 2m2 u2 the whole divided by m1 plus m2. And if you want to find out v2, what is v2? The final velocity of the body after collision, formula ये होता है m2 minus m1 into u2 plus 2m1 u1 the whole divided by m1 plus m2. So if you already have know the formula of v1, if you want to find the velocity of v2, don't by heart it separately, just substitute for 1 as 2 and for 2 as 1, that's all. Okay, ठीक है मेरा अच्छा लोग. So v1 भी हो गया, v2 भी हो गया. Then what is there? Some special cases are there. Some special cases are there. Some special cases matlab during the time of collision, if mass m1 and m2 are equal to each other, in that particular case, the final velocity of the first body v1 value will be equal to the initial velocity of second body. What is u2? That is the initial velocity of second body. That will be the final velocity of first body if the collision happens between two bodies with the same mass. And similarly, v2 will be equal to u1. Okay, note kiya. Second case is if a small mass, a chotu mass m, which is moving with some velocity u, is going to collide with a large mass m, matlab ye m hai na very big compared to the small mass, the value of final velocity of the first body will be equal to minus of u1, which means whatever is the velocity with which it is going, it will be reflected back with the same velocity, and the final velocity of the second body will be almost 0. Okay, so these are the entire information from elastic collision. ये भी note कर ले. Okay, note किया. And ये भी note कर ले. Okay, Yes, fine. So in inelastic collision, where the kinetic energy is not same as initial and final, there is no separate formulas for it. All the equations and problems are done by using these two formulas, matlab momentum conservation and E का value, which is coefficient of restitution का value. ठीक है? Then one more collision we have, that is perfectly inelastic collision. So ये perfectly inelastic collision क्या होता है? So this is after the collision, okay, after the collision, if both the bodies m1 and m2 stick together and moves with a common velocity v, वो होता है perfectly inelastic collision. And what is the value of this perfectly inelastic collision? V will be equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2, the whole divided by m1 plus m2 will be the velocity with which it moves. And one more information is iska E value will be equal to 0. Sir, E 0 in a perfectly inelastic collision, coefficient of restitution. Okay. So Arohi, Saumya, NS, Suhana, Turkesh, Pilot, Arohi, ho gaya. This was the chapter of work power energy. 2 more chapters left. Noted Devika, very good, बहुत बढ़िया. प्यारी sister of Ameer भैया, सलोनी, hi. Note किया ना? Coefficient of restitution. It is simply a ratio of V2 minus V1 divided by U1 minus U2. Okay, ये ratio को we are giving a name ऐसे ही है. Okay, yes. Next, center of mass. Now, what is center of mass? The point where entire mass of the body is being concentrated, right? How will you find out the center of mass? If there are two bodies with its x coordinate x1 and x2, m1 x1 plus m2 x2 divided by m1 plus m2, है ना? If there are n number of bodies, how will you find out the center of mass? देख ले. Summation of m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 till mn xn, the whole divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3 ठीक है. Now, if someone is asking you to find out the center of mass, right, but if the mass is a continuous mass distribution, in that case we just have to replace this summation with integration. So summation of xm will become integral of x dm divided by integral of dm. Okay, yes, fine. Now for some common shapes, the center of mass is given, which means for a triangle, from the base, exactly from the center of a base, it will be present at a height of h by 3. Okay, this is the point where center of mass is obtained for a triangle. If it is a semicircular ring, it's a ring which is semicircle, the center of mass is found at a distance from its base by a value of 2r by pi. Okay. Then for a disk, from the base it is found at a height of 4r by 3 pi, and if it's a shell, it's found at a distance of r by 2, as you can see. And if it's a solid hemisphere matlab half the sphere, it's solid, so it is 3r by 8. ये भी note कर ले. Okay, yes. Now if the particles are moving, okay, matlab different particles are there, m1 it is moving with some v1, m2 is there, it is moving with some v2, m3 is there moving with some v3. Question can be, what is the velocity of center of mass? How will you find it? m1 v1 plus m2 v2 plus m3 v3 plus m4 v4 plus mn vn, if there are n number of such particles, the whole divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3 till mn. ठीक है, ये भी नोट कर लें. Next, if you want to find out the acceleration of center of mass, just replace velocity with acceleration. That is m1 a1 plus m2 a2 till mn an, the whole divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3 till mn. Okay, हो गया. So I think these are the main important equations where you can expect questions from the topic of center of mass. Okay, बच्चा लोग ठीक है ना? So okay, yes. Okay, I have a class at 10 o'clock also. We have to complete the equations, है ना? Can I go a bit fast? बच्चा लोग, can I go a bit fast? Because I have got a class at 10 o'clock. Can I go a bit fast? Chotuza or the, can I increase the fast a bit more? Okay, so you also want to be very much concentrated, right? You have to start writing each and every formulas faster. Okay, very good. Now, angular velocity and angular acceleration, this we have discussed while we were discussing about circular motion. Okay, this equation also we have discussed, so those who are there in the class from the beginning might be knowing, right? Then what is left is moment of inertia. How will you find out moment of inertia of a body of mass m which is at a distance of r from the axis? So the moment of inertia I is equal to m r square. It's a scalar quantity. So instead of one particle, if there are so many particles, how will you find out the total moment of inertia? m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus m3 r3 square plus m4 r4 square till mn rn square. You just have to add up the values, you will get the total moment of inertia. Okay. Next, in the case of continuous mass distribution, instead of summation, you just have to do the integration. Matlab integral of r square dm will give you the total moment of inertia. Okay, good. Okay, ठीक है. Then moment of inertia, some of the common bodies is given, which is so much important. You should be by hearting. Okay, you should be by hearting this. For a ring, for an axis passing through its center of mass, mr square by 2. For a disk passing through its center of mass, half mr square. For a spherical shell, it is 2 by 3 mr square. For a solid sphere, it is 2 by 5 mr square. For a rod about an axis passing through its center and perpendicular to its length, it is ml square by 12. For a hollow cylinder, mr square. For a solid cylinder, mr square by 2. And for a planar rectangular lamina, it is m by 12 a square plus b square. What is a and b? A and b are the length and breadth of the given rectangle. Okay, note kar liye jaldi. Okay, so I am just going to proceed. Fine. Next, for finding out the moment of inertia of the body about unknown axis, we can use two theorems. One is a parallel axis theorem that says the moment of inertia of a body about an axis is equal to the sum of moment of inertia of the body about a parallel axis passing through the center of mass plus mass of the body into square of the distance between them. If you look into the figure, you will understand. This is the body and you want to find out the moment of inertia of the body about this particular axis. It says the moment of inertia of this body about this red color axis is equal to moment of inertia of the same body about a parallel axis. This axis has to be parallel to the one which you are talking and it should also be passing through the center of mass, that is ICM, plus mass of the body into square of the distance between the axis, that is md square. Okay. Perpendicular axis theorem, moment of inertia of a body about a perpendicular axis to the plane passing through a point is equal to the sum of moment of inertia of the same body about two axes passing through the same plane and perpendicular to each other, that is ix plus iy. Iz is equal to ix plus iy. Then radius of gyration, I hope you do all remember, formula is root of I by m. Angular momentum ka formula, L vector is equal to R vector cross P vector. एक और formula है for angular momentum, that is equal to I omega vector. Okay, note कर ले. 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go. Next, the rotating effect of a body, we call it as torque. Different formulas are there for torque. One is R vector cross the F vector. R is the distance from the point of rotation to the point where force is being acting, multiplied by the force, it's a cross product. Another formula for torque is differential of differential of angular momentum with respect to time. Another formula for torque is equal to I alpha. I is moment of inertia, alpha is angular acceleration. Okay. The conservation of angular momentum happens, matlab the angular momentum is going to be a constant when the net external torque acting on the body is equal to 0. The body is said to be in total equilibrium when the net force acting on the body is equal to 0 and when the net torque acting on the body is equal to 0. Then kinetic energy of a rotating body is equal to, what's the usual formula? It's half mv squared. So here the equation is half, mass is replaced by its analog I. Here we have velocity, here we have angular velocity. It's half I omega squared. Okay. So all these formulas I am going to explain you separately. Dekh. For rolling motion, the last topic from this particular chapter is rolling motion. ये हमारा body है. So the particle will be moving. We call it as velocity of center of mass, and at the same time it will be rotating also with some angular velocity omega. So this is called as rolling motion. So a particle is said to be in pure uniform rolling motion when velocity of the center of mass is equal to r omega. When this equation is being satisfied, we will say that the particle is in pure uniform rolling motion. Then if you are having a spherical body or any body which is rolling from an inclined plane of angle theta, if it wants to be a pure accelerated rolling motion, what is it? Pure accelerated rolling motion. The condition that has to be satisfied is acceleration of the center of mass should be equal to r alpha. Acceleration of the center of mass is equal to r alpha. Write it down. Then questions can also pop up. What is the acceleration of center of mass? Formula g sine theta divided by 1 plus I divided by mr square. Question can also pop up. What is the value of friction? Right? Friction will be equal to mg sine theta the whole divided by 1 plus mr square by I. So you can see that this term has inverted when it comes to the equation of friction. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. So that is all about our which chapter? Right. The rotational chapter. Note किया? I'll give you some time. बच्चा लोग, म्यारा, शंखमित्रा, देविका, सलोनी, वैशाली, पायलट, मानसी, एवरीवन. नोट किया बच्चा लोग? हाँ. Am I going too fast? Am I going too fast? I'm going a bit fast so that I can complete the chapter within 5 more minutes. That's all. I'm really sorry because I didn't know that the class between the class will be extending this much. Anyway, हो गया ना बच्चा लोग with the smiling faces? Noted. Perfect pace. Good, good, good. Noted, Anna. Very good, very good. Okay. Now with the very last chapter. Okay. Yes. Now between two masses m1 and m2, which is kept at a distance of r between them, attractive forces happens. The magnitude of force is equal to g m1 m2 divided by r square. G is a gravitational constant. Formula is 6.67 into 10 power minus 11. There exists also a potential energy between the two masses. Formula is minus g capital M small m divided by r, or if you are talking about m1 and m2, that is minus g m1 m2 divided by r. Then the acceleration with which the particle moves, g is equal to given by gm by r square if it is perfectly on the surface. The acceleration due to gravity will be changing with respect to depth. So the acceleration due to gravity at an inside point, I'll just draw the figure. This is our earth, this is the center. If you have a particle which is at a distance or a depth d exactly from the surface, the acceleration due to gravity at this point is equal to g into 1 minus d by r, where d is the depth from the surface. Now, the acceleration due to gravity at some height, matlab ये हमारा अर्थ है. From the surface of the earth, if the particle is at some height h, the acceleration due to gravity will be gm divided by r plus h the whole square. This is the actual formula. Now, if the value of h is very small compared to the radius of the earth, you can use this particular formula, that is g into 1 minus 2h by r. Is this equation valid all the time? बिल्कुल नहीं बच्चा लोग. This is only valid when the value of h is very chotu compared to the radius of the earth. Okay. The acceleration due to gravity will also be changing because when we move from the polar regions to the equator regions, as the radius value is lesser at the polar region, the acceleration due to gravity at that place will be more compared to the acceleration due to gravity at the equator. Then, due to the rotation of the earth also, the acceleration due to gravity will change. So, the acceleration due to gravity because of rotation of the earth, because earth is rotating with some angular velocity omega, as you know, that is g dash is equal to the new acceleration due to gravity is g minus r is radius, omega square is the angular velocity with which it rotates, cos of theta. Ye theta kya hai? If you are finding out the acceleration due to gravity at this point, and if you draw a radius from the center to that point, you can see that an angle is made by the line with the equator, with the equatorial line. That angle is theta, and that is this theta in the equation. Okay. Then escape velocity is the minimum velocity with which the particle has to be projected so that it can escape from the gravitational force of attraction. Formula is root of 2 gm divided by r. Now, if you are projecting a satellite from the surface of the earth so that it revolves, the orbital velocity with which it revolves is given by root of gm divided by chotu r. Ye chotu r kya hota hai? If this is our earth, the total distance from the center to the satellite where it revolves. Okay, so that is root of gm by r. Then we have three laws of Kepler. First law of Kepler tells that the planets are revolving around the sun in elliptical orbits. Okay, as you can see, it is moving in elliptical orbit where the sun will be at any one of its focus, because ellipse has two focus. I think you all have learned that. Then second one says aerial velocity is a constant. Matlab dA by dt, the rate at which the area is being covered by the radius vector है ना, वो तो constant होता है. This is what is being said in where? In the second law of Kepler. Fine? Okay. Then the third law of Kepler tells that t square is directly proportional to the semi-major axis, the cube of the semi-major axis. Matlab here we have an ellipse. So here if you mark this as center, from the center to one of its extreme end, that distance we call it as a semi-major axis. So the square of the time period is cube of the semi-major axis, as you can see. Okay, I'm really sorry sir, only my class will start in 15 minutes. I'm really sorry. So ho gaya. Okay, that was the last. And one more thing, the energy associated with the satellites. Kinetic energy associated with the satellite is half m v square. Which velocity we are talking about? Orbital velocity. So that is half m v is equal to, what's the orbital velocity formula? Root of gm divided by small r. So square of it is half m gm divided by r. That is kinetic energy. And what is potential energy formula? Minus g capital M small m divided by r. Total energy, if you add kinetic plus potential, how much will you get? Minus g mm divided by 2r. हो गया. Okay. Okay. So yes, thank you so much. Here we are at the end of this particular session. So jaldi note kar le. If you are not able to note down this fast, you can take a screenshot. And thank you so much, mera bachcha log, for understanding me, for being with me throughout the session. I hope you all have enjoyed it. You have understood each and everything, right? So I think you all are having a smiling faces. I know that in the last 15 minutes I have gone a bit fast, right? I'm really sorry for it. So if you want any explanation on any of the formulas, you can just type me. Okay, you can chat with me on Telegram. So I will be free on Saturdays and Sundays. You can ask me any doubts. I'll be replying to you. Right? Fine. Okay. So I'm gonna leave you with smiling faces. I suppose everyone in the classroom, to all my bacha log, hai na? So yes, Sri Harsha, Myara, Tanmaya, Sankamitra, Vaishali, Saloni, Branded. Okay. Yes. Yes. Hi Simran. So it's time for bye bye. Mera bacha log. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone. Right. These are the other batches which you can say that it is going to start in our Unacademy platform. Right. So I'm just making you go through it, a walk through the. Then thank you so much, everyone. Right now I have to leave now. I'll just go and eat something and I'll come for my next class, which is at 10 o'clock for my Legends batch. ठीक है? कोई बात नहीं, Mansi, if you have a Telegram and if you can find me, please do text me. My other students will help you also. ठीक है? So thank you everyone. Mansi, Honey, Myara, Vaishali, bye everyone for being here. Okay. So those who haven't liked the session, थोड़ा प्यार दे दे अमीर भैया को. Okay, like कर ले, hit the like button, and also don't forget to subscribe. Just subscribe to the channel, and so that you'll get all the notifications. Bye everyone, take care. We'll be meeting on Monday at 8 p.m. Till then.